You unbox your shiny new smart bulbs, excited to finally automate your lighting. You screw them in, open the app, and nothing. They won't pair. You've just discovered what derails more smart home installations than anything else: compatibility problems you didn't even know to check for. I'm Marcus Chen, and I've spent years helping people navigate these exact issues so their smart lighting actually works the first time. You're tuning in to the Smart Home Setup Podcast. Quick heads up, everything you're about to hear, all the research, the data, the script, that's been written and verified by real people. But the voice you're hearing right now is AI generated, just so you know exactly what you're listening to. I really appreciate you being here, whether you've been following along for a while or you just discovered the show. If you're new, stick around. We focus on the practical side of smart home tech without all the marketing fluff. New episodes come out every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, so you've got a regular stream of content to help you figure out what actually works. Now, let's dive into this compatibility checklist and save you from buying bulbs that won't pair with your hub. Setting up smart lighting shouldn't feel like solving a puzzle, but compatibility issues derail more installations than any other factor. You'll find bulbs that won't pair with your hub, switches that require neutral wires you don't have, and automation platforms that simply refuse to talk to each other. This guide walks you through every compatibility requirement you need to verify before buying your first bulb or upgrading your existing setup, from protocol matching and hub requirements to electrical constraints and automation logic. Whether you're building from scratch or adding to an existing system, you'll know exactly what works together and what doesn't before you spend $1. Now, let's talk about what protocol your lighting uses. Understanding your lighting protocol is the foundation of smart lighting compatibility. In my experience, this is where 60% of setup failures originate. Homeowners buy beautiful bulbs without checking if their hub can even communicate with them. Zigbee lighting requires a Zigbee hub or controller. Popular options include the Philips Hue Bridge. Check the link below to see the current price. Amazon Echo 4th generation and newer with built-in Zigbee radio, Samsung SmartThings Hub, or Hubitat Elevation. Zigbee operates on 2.4 GHz and uses a mesh network topology, meaning each powered device extends the network range. Expect 20 to 50 millisecond latency for simple on-off commands in a properly configured mesh. If you're working with Philips Hue products specifically, check out our guide on how to set up Philips Hue Bridge with Zigbee bulbs and automation rules for detailed pairing instructions. Z-Wave lighting needs a Z-Wave controller, typically SmartThings, Hubitat, or a dedicated home assistant setup with a Z-Wave USB stick. Z-Wave Plus operates on sub-gigahertz frequencies, 908.42 MHz in North America, 868.42 MHz in Europe, which provides better wall penetration than 2.4 GHz protocols. Latency typically ranges from 30 to 70 milliseconds, depending on hop count. One critical limitation: Z-Wave has regional frequency differences, so bulbs purchased in Europe won't work with North American controllers. For a deeper comparison of how these protocols perform in real-world scenarios, see our analysis of Zigbee motion sensors versus Z-Wave motion sensors. The latency patterns apply equally to lighting. Matter lighting represents the newest standard and offers true multi-ecosystem compatibility. Matter-certified bulbs can connect to Apple Home, Google Home, Amazon Alexa, or Samsung SmartThings simultaneously without separate hubs. You'll need a Matter controller, an iPhone with Home app, Google Nest Hub 2nd Gen, Echo 4th Gen or newer, or Samsung SmartThings Hub 2022 model. Matter runs over Thread, a low-power mesh protocol on 2.4 GHz, or Wi-Fi. Thread-based Matter lighting requires a Thread border router. Devices like HomePod Mini, Nest Hub Max, or Echo 4th Gen provide this functionality.
Latency averages 40 to 80 milliseconds for thread-based Matter, slightly higher for Wi-Fi Matter. Our guide to Matter.1.4 hub requirements explains border router setup in detail. Wi-Fi lighting connects directly to your 2.4 GHz or 5 GHz router without a separate hub. Popular brands include TP-Link, Casa, Wise, and Govee. This sounds simpler, but comes with real trade-offs. Each Wi-Fi bulb occupies a DHCP address and creates traffic on your network. I've seen home routers struggle when client counts exceed 40 to 50 devices. Latency depends entirely on your network quality and ranges from 100 to 300 milliseconds, with occasional complete dropouts during router congestion. Wi-Fi bulbs also lose all functionality during internet outages, unless they support local control, and most don't. If you're comparing protocols, read Matter Smart Lights versus Wi-Fi Smart Lights for performance metrics across various scenarios. Proprietary protocols still exist in some ecosystems. Lutron Caseta uses the proprietary Clear Connect RF protocol at 434 MHz and requires the Lutron Caseta Smart Hub. Check the link below to see the current price. LifeX bulbs connect via Wi-Fi but use a cloud-dependent architecture. Nanoleaf panels use Thread in newer models but required Wi-Fi in earlier versions. Always verify which generation you're buying. Compatibility isn't backward assumed. Bluetooth lighting is increasingly rare in 2026, but some entry-level bulbs still use it for direct phone control only. These bulbs cannot participate in home automation unless they also support another protocol. Skip them unless you genuinely only want manual phone control with no automation potential. For a comprehensive breakdown of how these protocols compare across multiple factors, see Smart Light Bulb Protocols Explained. Moving on to hub compatibility. Once you know your lighting protocol, you need to verify hub compatibility explicitly. Smart lighting compatibility breaks down most often at the hub level, where marketing claims and actual technical support diverge.
Check your hub's specifications page on the manufacturer's website, not the retail listing. Amazon Echo Show devices, for example, include Zigbee radios starting with the second-generation Show, but the original Show does not have Zigbee despite being marketed as a smart home hub. Google Nest Hub 2nd Gen supports Thread as a border router, but the original Nest Hub has no Thread radio at all. I've seen dozens of homeowners buy bulbs assuming Smart Hub means supports everything. Firmware version matters. Some hubs gained protocol support through updates. The Echo 4th Gen shipped without Matter support in 2020, but gained it via firmware update in 2023. If you're using an older hub, check your current firmware version and compare it to the manufacturer's changelog. Matter specifically requires certain minimum versions. Matter 1.0 was the baseline, but Matter 1.4, released late 2025, added enhanced multi-admin features that some automations depend on. Our article on how to migrate your smart home to Matter 1.4 covers the upgrade process and compatibility verification. Multi-protocol hubs simplify but don't eliminate issues. Samsung SmartThings Hub 2022 model supports Zigbee, Z-Wave, Thread, and Matter. This sounds ideal, but you still need to verify device pairing procedures for each protocol independently. Zigbee devices pair through the SmartThings app using a specific sequence, while Matter devices require scanning a QR code through Apple Home or Google Home first, then sharing to SmartThings. The hub supports both, but the workflows differ completely. Some hub-free systems actually require a hub but disguise it in marketing. Philips Hue bulbs technically work without the Hue bridge if you have an Echo with Zigbee, but you lose access to entertainment sync features, advanced scenes, and the full feature set. The bulbs function for basic on-off but aren't delivering what you paid for. I always recommend getting the proper ecosystem hub for full functionality, then adding Matter or multi-ecosystem control on top if desired. Protocol translators and bridges add complexity.
Some homeowners tried to bridge protocols, running Home Assistant with both a Zigbee USB stick and a Z-Wave USB stick to unify everything. This works, technically, but adds failure points. Each bridge or stick is a device that can crash, lose connection, or require updates. I've helped troubleshoot setups where one USB stick conflicted with another on USB power draw. If you go this route, plan for extra troubleshooting time.
Cloud dependency varies by hub. Amazon Alexa hubs require internet connectivity for voice commands but execute local Zigbee routines without internet. Google Home requires cloud connectivity for most operations. Apple HomeKit runs entirely locally if you have a HomePod or Apple TV as your home hub. This affects reliability during internet outages and introduces latency. Cloud-dependent hubs typically add 50 to 150 milliseconds to command execution compared to local processing. For a detailed comparison of major hub platforms and their protocol support, see Google Home Hub versus Amazon Echo Hub versus Apple HomePod. Let's talk about electrical and installation requirements. Electrical constraints and installation requirements eliminate more product options than most people expect. Most smart switches, not bulbs but switches, require a neutral wire in the wall box. Older homes built before the 1980s often lack neutral wires in switch boxes. You can verify by removing your current switch faceplate and looking for a bundle of white wires wire-nutted together in the back of the box. If you only see a black wire, that's the hot, a red wire for the load, and a bare copper ground, you don't have neutral. Your options: hire an electrician to run a neutral wire, which is expensive, use Lutron Caseta switches, which don't require neutral but use proprietary protocol, or stick with smart bulbs instead of smart switches. I've seen homeowners buy $200 worth of Z-Wave switches before discovering their house lacks neutral wires in 90% of locations. This sounds obvious, but E26 standard, E12 candelabra, GU10 twist and lock spotlight, and BR30 recessed can bulbs are not interchangeable. Measure your existing bulbs before ordering. Also, verify the smart bulb's physical dimensions. Some smart bulbs are noticeably longer than standard bulbs and don't fit in enclosed fixtures or recessed cans with shallow depth. The Philips Hue White and Color Ambiance A19, check the link below to see the current price, measures 4.37 inches tall, which doesn't fit in some compact ceiling fixtures designed for 3.5-inch standard bulbs. If you're using smart bulbs with existing dimmer switches, you'll face conflicts. Smart bulbs need full power at all times. They do their own dimming digitally. If your existing wall dimmer reduces voltage, the bulb will flicker, refuse to pair, or fail entirely. You must either replace the dimmer with a standard on-off switch or use smart switches instead of smart bulbs. I've troubleshot this exact issue at least 50 times. Homeowners insist the bulb is defective when the real issue is reduced voltage from the dimmer. Smart switches have maximum load ratings, typically 300 to 600 watts. If you're controlling a chandelier with 8 60-watt bulbs, that's 480 watts total. Verify your switch supports that load. Exceeding the rating causes overheating, switch failure, or in rare cases, fire risk. LED bulbs dramatically reduce load. 8 9-watt LEDs total 72 watts, but verify before assuming. If your light is controlled by switches at multiple locations, like a hallway with switches at both ends, you have a three-way setup. Most smart switches require specific three-way configurations, typically a smart switch at one location and a special companion or add-on switch at the other location. Not all smart switches support three-way setups, and those that do require specific wiring. If you have four-way setups with 3 or more switch locations, compatibility becomes even more restricted. Smart bulbs generate heat, fully enclosed fixtures where the bulb sits inside a glass globe with no air circulation, trap heat and dramatically shorten bulb lifespan or prevent them from working at all. Many manufacturers explicitly void warranties for enclosed fixture use. For outdoor installations, verify IP ratings for weatherproofing. Damp rated, which covers most indoor bulbs, is not sufficient for exposed outdoor use. You need wet-rated bulbs with IP65 or higher. For outdoor installations, see Govee Outdoor Lights Installation Checklist for detailed weatherproofing and power considerations. U.S. lighting operates at 110 to 120 volts, 60 Hz. European and most international markets use 220 to 240 volts, 50 Hz. Smart bulbs are not voltage universal unless explicitly stated. If you're purchasing bulbs internationally or moving between regions, verify voltage compatibility. Using a 120-volt bulb on 240-volt power will cause immediate catastrophic failure. Now, how will you control and automate your lighting? Control interfaces and automation logic determine how useful your lighting actually is. Smart lighting compatibility at the control layer matters just as much as physical installation. Verify your lighting works with your preferred voice assistant. Zigbee bulbs connected to an Echo work natively with Alexa. To control those same bulbs via Google Assistant, you'll need to link your Alexa account to Google Home, which adds cloud latency and creates a dependency chain. If Amazon servers are down, Google can't control your lights. Matter lighting solves this by allowing native multi-assistant control, but only if your hub and bulbs both support Matter 1.4 multi-admin features. Every smart lighting ecosystem requires an app and typically an account. Philips Hue needs the Hue app and a Hue account. Wise Lighting needs the Wise app and Wise account. If you're mixing ecosystems, you'll manage multiple apps. I've seen setups with 5 different lighting apps on one phone. Matter aims to solve this, but adoption is still incomplete in 2026.
If you want advanced automations, verify your lighting works with your automation platform. Home Assistant supports virtually everything through custom integrations, but setup complexity varies wildly. Apple HomeKit has strict certification requirements. Many Zigbee bulbs work with Alexa, but don't support HomeKit without additional bridges. SmartThings offers broad compatibility, but requires each device integration to be tested. For an overview of automation platform differences, read Understanding Hub Requirements. Basic automations follow simple if-then logic. If time equals sunset, then lights equal on. More useful automations require conditionals. If time equals sunset and motion detected equals true, and someone home equals true, then lights equal on. Not all platforms support complex conditionals. Alexa routines support basic time-based triggers but struggle with multi-condition logic. SmartThings and Home Assistant offer full conditional support. Apple HomeKit supports conditionals but has limitations on mixing device types. Test your desired automation logic on your chosen platform before committing. Our guide on how to create smart lighting automations with if-then logic provides platform-specific examples. Voice commands typically take 800 milliseconds to 2 seconds from speech to light change. That includes voice processing, cloud routing, and command execution. App control takes 500 to 1.5 seconds, depending on whether control is local or cloud routed. Physical switch control executes in 20 to 100 milliseconds for local processing. Motion-triggered automations execute in 50 to 200 milliseconds, depending on mesh hop count and automation platform. Set realistic expectations. Smart lighting will never match the instant response of a dumb light switch. If you want to control multiple lights simultaneously, verify group support. Zigbee groups are processed at the Zigbee coordinator level and execute nearly instantaneously across all bulbs. Cloud-based groups send individual commands to each bulb sequentially, creating visible popcorn effects where bulbs turn on one by one. Matter supports native group control, but implementation quality varies by controller. What happens when your Wi-Fi drops, your hub crashes, or your internet goes down? Wi-Fi bulbs typically lose all smart features and cannot be turned on or off at all, unless you power cycle them, which usually defaults them to on. Zigbee and Z-Wave bulbs maintain their last state and can often be controlled by physical switches if you've left power connected. Smart switches typically fail to on or off depending on design. You want switches that fail to on for safety. For a complete breakdown of what to expect when systems fail, see Smart Device Fallback Behavior Checklist.
Not all ecosystems cooperate.
Philips Hue bulbs work with non-Hue Zigbee hubs, but you lose access to gradient lighting, entertainment sync, and some color capabilities. IKEA Trod-free bulbs technically use Zigbee, but implement the profile differently than Hue. They pair with Hue bridges, but firmware updates often break compatibility. Lutron Caseta switches don't integrate with Zigbee or Z-Wave at all. They require the Lutron hub and only communicate outward to other platforms via cloud APIs. I've helped homeowners who bought compatible devices only to discover critical features don't work cross-ecosystem. For detailed guidance on creating reliable automations that account for protocol differences, see how to compare smart device automation logic. Let's discuss ecosystem lock-in and future expansion considerations. Your first bulb purchase determines your ecosystem path for years. These questions help you avoid costly future changes. Can you add devices from other manufacturers? Some ecosystems are open. Zigbee, Z-Wave, Matter, and accept devices from any compliant manufacturer. Others are closed. Lutron, LifeX Cloud, and only work with the original brand's products. If you start with Philips Hue bulbs, you can later add IKEA Trod-free, Sengled, or Inner Zigbee bulbs to the same hub. If you start with Lutron Caseta switches, you're locked into Lutron switches permanently. You can't mix in GE Z-Wave switches on the same hub because Lutron uses a proprietary protocol. Plan for expansion before buying your first device. What happens if the manufacturer discontinues the product line or goes out of business? Wi-Fi bulbs that depend on manufacturer cloud services become useless paperweights if the company shuts down servers. This has already happened with Revolve, acquired and killed by Nest, Lowe's Iris, shut down in 2019, and Insteon, shut down in 2022, partially revived under new ownership. Zigbee, Z-Wave, Thread, and Matter devices continue functioning locally even if the manufacturer disappears because they follow standardized protocols. I always recommend protocol-based systems over proprietary cloud systems for this reason. Can you migrate to a different hub or platform later? Zigbee and Z-Wave devices require repairing if you change hubs, which means climbing ladders to power cycle bulbs and rerunning pairing sequences. Matter devices can be shared across multiple controllers without repairing. You can have the same bulb controlled by Apple Home, Google Home, and Alexa simultaneously. This multi-admin capability is a major advantage for future flexibility. Our guide on Matter 1.4 Compatibility Checklist explains how to verify multi-admin support before buying.
How will new protocol versions affect your existing devices? Matter 1.0 devices generally work with Matter 1.4 controllers, but don't support new features like enhanced multi-admin or improved energy reporting. Zigbee 3.0 improved on older Zigbee profiles, ZLL, ZHA, but maintains backward compatibility. Z-Wave Plus improved range and battery life over Z-Wave Classic, and newer 700 series chips improve both, but all versions interoperate. Thread 1.3 added features over 1.0 but remains compatible. Check whether firmware updates can add new protocol features to your existing devices or whether you'll need hardware replacement. Calculate true costs before committing. Philips Hue starter kits appear expensive initially, around $70 for hub and 2 bulbs, but per bulb costs drop significantly. Third-party Zigbee bulbs work with the Hue bridge for $10 to $15 each. Wi-Fi bulbs cost $8 to $12 each with no hub, which seems cheaper, but you can't mix brands effectively and you're paying the connectivity cost in router complexity. Matter devices currently cost 20 to 40% more than equivalent Wi-Fi devices, but prices are dropping. For comprehensive buying guidance that considers total system cost, see How to Choose Smart Lighting. What advanced features might you want later?
If you think you might want color-changing bulbs, start with a color-capable ecosystem. You can't upgrade Zigbee white-only bulbs to color without replacement. If you want light strips, outdoor lighting, or recessed lighting later, verify your chosen ecosystem offers those form factors. If you want entertainment sync with your TV, only Philips Hue offers full integration, though some Govee products offer TV sync via camera-based color matching. I've helped homeowners rip out entire Lutron Caseta installations when they realized they wanted color lighting. Caseta only does dimming, not color. Here's your final check before you go. Before purchasing any smart lighting, verify these critical compatibility factors. Protocol match. Your bulb or switch protocol matches your hub's supported protocols. Hub verification. Your specific hub model and firmware version supports your chosen protocol. Electrical compatibility. Neutral wire available if using switches, correct socket type, no dimmer conflicts, adequate load capacity. Voltage match. Bulb voltage matches your region, 110 to 120 volts or 220 to 240 volts. Control platform confirmed. Bulbs work with your voice assistant and automation platform. Automation requirements met. Your platform supports the conditional logic you need. Fallback behavior acceptable. You understand what happens when connectivity fails. Ecosystem expansion path clear. You can add more devices without switching systems. Multi-location switch support if needed. 3-way or 4-way compatibility verified. Future-proofing considered. Protocol choice allows for manufacturer independence.
If you can check every item, you're ready to buy. If you have gaps, fill them before purchasing. Returning bulbs is annoying, but rewiring your house is expensive. Let's go through some frequently asked questions. Can I mix Zigbee and Z-Wave bulbs in the same room? You can physically install both Zigbee and Z-Wave bulbs in the same room, but they'll operate on separate mesh networks and require separate hubs or a multi-protocol hub like SmartThings to control them together. Automations that control both bulb types simultaneously will execute commands sequentially rather than simultaneously, potentially creating noticeable delays of 100 to 200 milliseconds between bulbs turning on, which may be visible as a popcorn effect in scenes requiring synchronized lighting. Do I need a hub if I buy Matter-certified bulbs? Matter-certified bulbs still require a Matter controller, which functions as a hub, such as an iPhone running iOS 16 or higher with the Home app, a Google Nest Hub 2nd generation, an Amazon Echo 4th generation or newer, or a Samsung SmartThings Hub 2022 model or newer. But you don't need a separate dedicated bridge device like the Philips Hue bridge because the controller handles Matter communication directly. What happens to my smart bulbs during a power outage? Smart bulbs lose power during outages just like traditional bulbs, and when power returns, most bulbs default to full brightness, the on state, regardless of their previous setting, though some manufacturers allow you to configure default power on behavior through their apps. Automations and schedules resume once your hub and network equipment restart, typically within 60 to 180 seconds of power restoration, depending on router and hub boot times. Smart lighting compatibility isn't complicated once you understand the actual requirements. You need protocol matching between bulbs and hubs, electrical infrastructure that supports your chosen devices, and realistic expectations about how different ecosystems cooperate or don't. I've watched too many people buy beautiful smart bulbs that sit unused because they skipped the compatibility verification steps. Start with protocol selection based on your existing ecosystem or your preferred control platform. Verify your hub supports that protocol explicitly, including firmware version requirements. Check your electrical infrastructure before ordering switches. Test a small installation, 2 to 3 bulbs, before committing to whole house deployment. You'll spend less money, waste less time troubleshooting, and actually enjoy your smart lighting instead of fighting with it. For more practical compatibility guidance across your entire smart home ecosystem setup, explore our Smart Home Ecosystem Compatibility Checklist. The same verification approach works for sensors, locks, thermostats, and every other device category.
That wraps up this episode of the Smart Home Setup Podcast. Thanks for spending your time with me today. New episodes drop every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, so you'll always have something fresh to listen to. If this episode helped you avoid a compatibility nightmare, or just made the whole smart lighting thing make more sense, I'd really appreciate it if you'd leave a 5-star rating and write a quick review. It genuinely helps other people find the show when they're searching for real smart home advice instead of marketing hype. And hey, hit that subscribe or follow button so you get notified the second a new episode goes live. I'll catch you in the next one.